What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc right here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here to review Monday Night Raw from May 31st, 2021. Wow, this show really knows how to get worse and worse every week. I mean, by this point, it's not even like I'm not mad about it. I'm just going to laugh mainly because like, what's the point about getting mad about Raw if every week on Raw, like WWE just doesn't give a shit of what they produce on television? Because by all means, they're going to get paid all this money by Peacock, Saudi Arabia. They're going to be paid all of this money for producing a shitty product, and that's just saying something. And literally, excuse my language, but like, what, like, honestly, what? I mean, there's a lot of things to get mad about, but like, come on now. I mean, this show, it just gets worse every week. I mean, we see rematches after rematches like that we've already seen, matches that we don't want to see, people that are in the mix that don't even need to be in the mix, and it makes no sense for them to be in the particular feud that they are in. For example, Nikki Cross. Why is Nikki Cross in the whole fiasco with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be going deep into that later on in this review. But, I mean, let's be 100% honest here. Raw as a whole, I mean, is not a good show. Now, they did do one change, and the change is the commentary team. By what I mean by that is the fact that they changed the lead commentator. As you guys know already, WWE has released Adnan Virk, so he's no longer the lead role for Monday Night Raw. That's a good thing. I mean, hopefully he finds work somewhere else because losing a job sucks. But, I mean, let's be 100% honest here. Adnan Virk, or Adnan Virk, whatever his name is, he wasn't good in the role at all. He didn't know a lot of the moves. He honestly just bursts out of nowhere and just is like, he literally, when for example, like when you have Braun Strowman running, he goes, run for the tracks. Or when when Rhea Ripley hits the Riptide, he's always like, Riptide, 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 like stuff like that. I mean, Adnan Virk was cringe on commentary, and thankfully, WWE was like, wow, we made a huge mistake. That was a whole Nick Khan decision. I don't know why Nick Khan made that decision. And this is the thing with WWE. They say that they want to go a little more sports-centric, so that's why they hire people like Adnan Virk and in this case, Jimmy Smith. But at the same time, their product as a whole is not even sports-centric at all. If anything, it's entertainment. If you want a product that really is sports-centric but still kind of has that entertainment element to it, it's AEW. Now, AEW does have their problems. I mean, they are not perfect at all. I do think that their production needs to be fixed a little more. I do think they need to put more experienced people in their production to, really just get good shots of what they are doing. And not only that, there are some botches when you watch an AEW match. But at the same time, I feel like their product as a whole, I do believe, is much better than the WWE's product. The reason why I say that is because, I don't know, out of habit for me, I enjoy watching Dynamite more than I do Raw. And even, I will say, SmackDown as well. Dynamite, for me at least, I don't know about other people. If you don't like Dynamite, that's fine. But like for me at least, as a fan, I actually thoroughly enjoy what goes on Dynamite and the stories that are being told. But I will say sometimes they kind of fall off the tracks and there's just too much going on at the same time. In this case with Monday Night Raw, there's just stuff that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. There are wrestlers getting title shots that don't need to get title shots whatsoever. There are constant rematches that I always see all the time. And it's not only that, they follow the exact same formula every week. And what I'm talking about when it comes to that particular formula is, okay, let's have two tag teams feud, right? And we got one guy from one tag team face the other guy from the other tag team one week, and then the other two guys face each other the next week, and then the next week we're going to have a tag team match with both of those tag teams all together. So that, for me, is lazy booking, and then you get all that 50-50 booking that goes on in WWE. And it's not only on Raw, it's also on SmackDown. But I feel like on SmackDown, even though they do stupid DQ finishes in their matches, you don't see, I mean, you only see that like once. But when you watch Raw, those DQs are like constant. I can remember one night where one match ended in a DQ, then a brawl breaks out, and then we go to commercial break, and then there's a whole freaking tag team match that happens out of nowhere. Stuff like that is lazy booking, and that's one of the major issues with Monday Night Raw. And if you look at this show, not only there is lazy booking, but there's just lazy writing. The comedy in this show is absolutely terrible. Now, granted, AEW does comedy too, and sometimes it comes off as stupid. But, I mean, when they do comedy, at least I kind of get a laugh out of it. When you watch Raw, like, when they try to do comedy, like, their comedy is like child comedy, and that's terrible. But yeah, that's a little bit of a rant on why I think Raw sucks. I mean, a lot of this show just makes no sense, and I forgot to mention the over-scripting of all of the wrestlers. Not like, for example, Rhea Ripley. I mean, she has gotten over-scripted so much that literally, I honestly like don't believe in what Rhea Ripley's saying. When I watch like AEW, and I know I'm gonna name drop Cody Rhodes here, and I know Cody Rhodes has been getting a lot of, I don't know, heat from fans, mainly because he's putting himself in many situations that he really doesn't have to be in. And I've said this in my Double or Nothing review. But at least when Cody Rhodes speaks, I believe in what he's saying. Kenny Omega, I mean, like, he's okay when it comes to his promos, but I mean, the beauty of Kenny Omega is not really his promos, it's his in-ring ability. And AEW focuses a lot on in-ring work. WWE really doesn't give a lot of emphasis on in-ring work, especially on Raw. They're more of an entertainment-based company. But enough of me chit-chatting. That's another video for another time. We're going to be talking about Raw. So the show starts. We got Miz and John Morrison. Yes, Miz came back from being eaten by zombies. I assumed he was dead. You know what I mean? I thought he was dead because he got eaten by zombies. But no, apparently he's back alive. And they introduce Miz TV. We got Miz TV in 2021. Now, granted, Miz TV has been happening for the past few, I mean, it's been happening ever since like 2013 and it's still going on, but like Miz TV in 2021, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to the Miz because he's great at what he does, but like Miz TV is so irrelevant nowadays that, I mean, like, in my opinion, I honestly think that Miz TV is completely irrelevant because it's the same shit over and over again. But yeah. He introduces himself and puts himself over, basically. He says that these past few weeks were really tough. I know, it was really tough for the fans because, you know, we were all watching Raw and then nobody liked what we were watching. Says he is sorry, talks about the terrible match he had at WrestleMania Backlash with the zombies. Asks John Morrison what that smell is, and John Morrison says it's garlic, so he's wearing this whole necklace of garlic, which is so stupid. He brings in the drip stick, which I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. Miz says he has to come back to Raw because of the fact that WWE is back on the road and the fans want Miz back. No, we don't. Introduces Charlotte Flair. Morrison, while Charlotte Flair is coming in the ring, is humming Charlotte's music, which is absolutely ridiculous. Charlotte asks what that smell is, and that's the part, like, you know, this whole garlic shit is so stupid. But, like, the fact that Charlotte is asking, oh, what is that smell? And I'm like, wait, you're asking what that smell is, but John Morrison already said what the smell was before you even came out. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is just so ridiculous. Says she could be the 14-time women's champion, but who is counting? Says she will be sending Rhea to hell. No pun intended. Because, you know, they're going to be wrestling at Hell in a Cell. Woohoo! Great. So, Rhea Ripley comes out, right? And as I stated earlier, Rhea Ripley is completely overscripted nowadays. Honestly, when I listen to Rhea Ripley, and this is not against Rhea Ripley, I know she can, I do feel that she can deliver a good promo if WWE gives her the freedom to, but I mean, this is like the icing on top of the cake when it comes to overscripting. This is exactly what she says. Rhea Ripley states this: she is not a vampire, Charlotte. She is a nightmare. If that is not overscripting, I do not know what is. Like, that's one of the problems with the modern day WWE product. If you watch an episode of Raw during the Attitude Era or hell, the Ruthless Aggression Era, I mean, there can be scripting there, especially in the Ruthless Aggression Era and especially near the end. But I mean, it's not as much over scripting as like now. I mean, like at least when it was scripted back in the day, because I do believe it was scripted back in the day. But I feel like wrestlers had a little more freedom. Wrestlers had more freedom back in the day than they do now. Rhea Ripley sounds extremely scripted, and it's not even funny anymore. Like it's really like giving the viewer a headache, and I hate that. Says she's going to be the Raw Women's Champion. Charlotte states that she couldn't beat Nikki Cross in 2 minutes. Then Nikki Cross comes out. Both go face to face. Rhea says that she's... Oh, wait, no. Never mind. She calls out Charlotte, and Charlotte says that she could beat Cross in 1 minute. So there's a beat the clock challenge, and the match starts. And Cross is trying to stall Charlotte Flair. And this whole beat the clock challenge is so stupid. First off, you have Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley feuding, but why is Nikki Cross in the mix? What's the reason behind Nikki Cross being in this match? You know what I'm saying? It's so stupid. First off, it makes absolutely no sense. And second of all, I mean, like, it's cringe, in my opinion. It's cringe. So Nikki Cross is outside dancing. She goes back in the ring, but Cross gets out of the ring again. Cross comes back and then back out of the ring. So she goes in and out of the ring while Charlotte is getting pissed. Charlotte just screams at Rhea Ripley while she's on commentary. Oh, it's your fault, blah, blah, blah. Charlotte chases Cross. Then after that, Charlotte knee strikes Cross. 30 seconds are left. We get a tornado DDT. Nikki Cross beats the clock. Look, I do not like this whatsoever. Like, why is this beat the clock challenge happening? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. This is so stupid. All right. Next segment, we got Riddle, who I think is actually one of the best things about Raw. Now, granted, I do think he should be put in a better position, but I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't know if this is guilty pleasure when it comes to watching Raw, but I mean, Matt Riddle is pretty entertaining when I watch him on Raw. I'm not gonna lie. I actually get a good laugh. So Riddle is backstage with Damian Priest. He wants Priest to teach Spanish. So he's like, "How do you say bro? How do you say I'm hungry in Spanish? Or how do you say hi, bro?" So he talks about the RKO he hit last week, right? And then Damian Priest is like, "Dude, look behind you. It's Randy Orton." So Randy Orton is in the segment, and he's basically saying, "Look, I know you hit the RKO without my permission, but it looks pretty dope. Why don't you watch my match against Xavier Woods?" So we got Randy Orton and Xavier Woods. Of course, last week we had Riddle and Xavier Woods, which I thought was a really good match. I mean, very few times we get a good match on Raw. This match was a really good match. I mean, Riddle and Xavier Woods really tore the house down on Raw last week. So he asks Riddle to watch the match. So we got Xavier Woods and Randy Orton. So both lock up. We get a takedown by Orton and then an arm drag by Woods. Orton drops Woods on the top turnbuckle. Orton works on Woods on the outside by hitting the head of Woods on the announce table. Orton is working on Woods with a headlock. Woods fights back. We get an enziguri by Woods. Couple right hands by Woods. Orton fights back. We got a rolling elbow by Woods. Woods works on Orton on the top rope. We get a powerbomb from Randy Orton. Orton tries to DDT Woods, but plants Orton and applies the armbar. Orton puts his head on the bottom rope. Orton takes Woods on the middle rope and hits a DDT. Woods counters with a backslide. We get a 2 count. But then Orton, of all things, goes for the Bro Derek, which is Matt Riddle's finisher, and pins Xavier Woods to win the match. That was pretty hilarious, the fact that Orton hit the Bro Derek. I mean, it was pretty good. But I mean, still, I mean, like, again, it's not going to stop me from saying that this show is bad. I mean, I do think that Randy Orton, and I feel like Randy Orton and Matt Riddle will be a situation kind of like Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, in a sense that it's going to be like the only good thing on Raw. Because as you remember in 2016, and look, 2016, in my opinion, was like the last good year for WWE. I loved 2016 WWE. But Raw was not the best show, but it wasn't as bad to the point where like I wanted to tune out. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but there were some good things and there were some bad things. I mean, Raw was not that great of a show back in 2016, but at the same time, it wasn't as bad of a show that that made me tune out. This show makes me tune out. But when I'm talking about Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, I do believe that I feel like, because as you guys remember, like SmackDown was killing Raw back in 2016, and the only thing that like made people watch Raw was Jericho and Kevin Owens. I do believe that it's going to be a situation like that. It may be a little bit far-fetched, I know, but I do believe that Orton and Riddle will be loved by the fans once we get back on the road. They are pretty entertaining, I'm not going to lie. All right, we got MVP backstage with the girls with Bobby Lashley, of course. So, yeah, he's just celebrating all that stuff. Now we got this barn burner of a match, which I don't know why this match is happening. First off, and this match is Shayna Baszler versus Reginald. Look, I said it on my other Raw reviews. I mean, they're doing Shayna Baszler ridiculously dirty. I do not understand why they cannot put Shayna Baszler in the main event scene on Raw. I mean, it's so stupid. Like, they literally, when they brought her up from NXT, they put her in a feud with Becky Lynch, who, by the way, lost against Becky Lynch. They should have had Becky Lynch drop the title to Shayna Baszler and have Shayna have a long title run. But no, they had Becky keep the belt. Not only that, I mean, like, the fact that she was in a tag team with Nia Jax, in my opinion, is just, like, ridiculous. Because if you look at the talent that Shayna Baszler has, and you see the way that she was booked in NXT, she was booked as a strong, and I mean a strong heel. And here, I mean, she's just looked at as a joke. I mean, it's so stupid. So before the match even starts, you get Nia Jax in gorilla position with Reginald. Reginald does not want Nia Jax to be in the match. So the match starts, right? So we get a standing moonsault by Reginald. We get Baszler pushing Reginald. We get a roll-up by Reginald. Reginald slams Baszler. We get a couple backflips by Reginald. Baszler targets the leg of Reginald. Baszler stumps the leg of Reginald to the mat. We get an ankle lock by Baszler. Reginald escapes. We get a spinning crossbody on Reginald. Reginald is selling the knee and going to the top rope. We get a beautiful moonsault, which I'm not going to lie, Reginald pulled off a beautiful-ass moonsault. Like, that looked amazing. But he misses. So then after that, fire blows on the top of the ring post. And then Reginald rolls up Baszler and beats. He pins. Yes. Reginald, of all people, pins Shayna Baszler. If that is not terrible, I honestly do not know what is. How the hell do you have Shayna Baszler get pinned in a roll-up because of fire by Reginald? That is so stupid. If you want to devalue someone that is beloved by fans, do what WWE just did right there. That is just, for me, taboo. Like, why would you book that? That is so stupid. Again, the people that are running the main roster, that being Kevin Dunn, Bruce Pritchard, and Vince McMahon, they do not know anything about the current state of pro wrestling. I mean, they don't even consider themselves to be in the pro wrestling business. This is the same company that wants to work with New Japan. Bruh, really? You ain't in the same business. I thought you guys were in different businesses. You know what I'm saying? But, like, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, it's so stupid. Why the hell is Shayna Baszler, like, getting pinned? I mean, if anything, she should instantly be in a feud with Rhea Ripley and just beat the crap out of Rhea Ripley and win the title. But no. She has to get pinned by... She has to be in a tag team with Nia Jax and also get pinned by Reginald. That is really stupid. We get Drew McIntyre. We got a backstage interview with him. He talks about Kofi Kingston. He respects him. Says he basically talks about how Kofi Kingston gets his how he worked hard for 11 years and eventually got his WWE title opportunity and eventually won at WrestleMania, which I attended, by the way. I attended WrestleMania 35 and I loved every second of the show. Actually, a few things I didn't like, and another flaw with that show is that the show went way too long. But I really loved the moment when Kofi Kingston beat Daniel Bryan for the WWE title and won the title. That was an emotional moment, one of my favorite moments in modern WWE history, in my opinion. But McIntyre in this promo after that says that he will eventually get his WWE Championship, and he is ready for the match that he's going to have in the main event with Kofi Kingston. All right, now let's watch another match that, honestly, I do not care about at all. The overscripted jobbers, I'm going to call them that now, the overscripted Jobber Kings. That's actually a good name. The overscripting Jobber Kings. Mace and T-Bar, by those are the overscripting Jobber Kings, versus the Lucha House Party. All right. The match starts. T-Bar and Lindsay Dorado start the match. T-Bar works on Dorado. We got a sleeper hold by Dorado. We got an Enziguri by Grand Metalik. Metalik tags in. Mace plants Metalik, drops Metalik. We got an elbow drop on Metalik. We got a big boot by T-Bar on Metalik. Cover and a near fall. Mace tags in. Dorado drop kicks both T-Bar and Mace. Mace catches Dorado and slams him on the outside. Metalik gets a big boot by T-Bar. Double choke slam on Metalik by T-Bar and Mace. T-Bar and Mace win the match. Do I care? No, I do not care. First off, T-Bar and Mace are jobbers at this point. Retribution is a joke. I don't even know if Retribution is even still a faction on Raw. I mean, you remember last year when WWE was like, first off, I can remember this last year where WWE, like some idiot on the WWE Twitter page was like, oh, a new faction will debut on Raw. First off, if you're going to debut a new faction out of nowhere, why would you spoil it and be like, oh, a new faction's going to debut on Raw? Why? Try to get viewers? And instead, what you got was people literally dressed all the same and literally just it literally looked like robbers, like just robbing a bank. But instead of robbing a bank, they were literally just they were just destroying everything, and that was basically Retribution. And that happened on both shows until they got exclusive to Raw, and by then they were just a failure. Retribution is a joke, and T-Bar and Mace are just worse. Like, who honestly cares about T-Bar and Mace? Everybody cared about Dominic Dijakovic when he was in NXT. He had those really good matches with Keith Lee. Now he's just a jobber. Now, granted, they did win the match against the Lucha House Party, but like, who cares? Who cares? Nobody cares. All right, we got Alexa Bliss's Playground. Talks about Reginald and asks if Reginald can come to Alexa's Playground later on in the show. Great. All right, now we got a segment with Sheamus. Talks about his victory. Says he cannot wait for WWE to go back on the road so he can defend his title. Shows the match that he had with Humberto Carrillo and, of course, the interference with Ricochet. Talks about Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo. Says that the challenge was created for someone worthy for a shot at the U.S. title. Says that Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo does not lace his boots. He calls them both out. Ricochet comes out. Both brawl in the ring when the match starts. Ricochet slides outside the ring. Sheamus throws Ricochet on the barricade. We get a diving clothesline by Sheamus. Humberto Carrillo comes out and distracts Sheamus. Ricochet rolls up Sheamus and pins the U.S. champion. If you wanna discredit a champion, go ahead. He will lose on television. That's how you discredit a champion right there. Then we go to commercial. Then it's Sheamus versus Humberto Carrillo, which makes no sense whatsoever. Sheamus takes down Humberto Carrillo. Carrillo fights back. Sheamus drops Carrillo from the middle turnbuckle. Continues to work on Carrillo. We get an Irish Curse backbreaker by Sheamus on Carrillo. Clothesline by Sheamus. We get a couple chops by Sheamus. A jawbreaker by Carrillo. Sheamus gets driven into the ring post. We get an elbow by Carrillo on the face of Sheamus. Carrillo kicks Sheamus. We get a drop kick by Carrillo. Sheamus is bleeding from the nose. We get a kick by Ricochet. Sheamus gets driven on the announce table. Sheamus catches Humberto when jumping off the top rope. He plants Carrillo. We got a springboard enziguri by Carrillo. Humberto Carrillo rolls up Sheamus and beats the U.S. champion. So the U.S. champion loses twice. The mid-card champion, the U.S. champion. I thought that title was mad important, but no, Sheamus loses the U.S. title. Stuff like that. I mean, look, when it comes to champions, I mean, WWE does not give a damn about its champions, except for like guys like Roman Reigns. But like their mid card champions, like the mid card scene in WWE, they do not put any emphasis whatsoever. They don't put any emphasis on the Intercontinental Championship, and they do not put any emphasis on the U.S. Championship. One of my praises, and I know I'm making comparisons to AEW, and I know sometimes that can sound like I'm kind of a mark for them, but I do know that they are not perfect. I keep saying that over and over again. I know, but like I'm just telling the truth. What I like about AEW is the fact that the TNT Championship, now while Cody Rhodes stated that he does not like the word mid-card, that belt is still a mid-card championship. But what I like about the TNT Championship in AEW is the fact that that belt is on par with the AEW World title. And I love the fact that that belt is just as important as the World Championship. Not only that, it's defended every week on television in great matches. I mean, when Darby Allin was the champion, I mean, I do believe that was one of the highest. Darby Allin was the highest rated segments of the show, just because of the fact that Darby Allin was defending the TNT Championship. And it goes to show you that AEW is making new stars, and they are putting a lot of emphasis on their mid-card championship. With WWE, they don't care about their mid-card championships. The Intercontinental title, I'm sorry, it's just not important. Now, granted, it was defended in a Fatal 4-Way, which was awesome on SmackDown. But the U.S. title, in my opinion, is a joke. We get a video package with Eva Marie. Oh, well, I don't care. We got the next match. We got Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Lana and Naomi. Natalya and Tamina, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, are on commentary. Both Lana and Dana lock up. Double team by Lana and Naomi with a leg drop. Running Bulldog by Lana. Naomi tags in. We get a double team by Lana and Naomi. Brooke face plants Naomi. Mandy Rose tags in and double team. We get a double team by Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Naomi fights off Dana and Mandy. We get a cover by Naomi. We get a 2 count. Naomi drops Dana Brooke over the top rope. Knee to the jaw of Naomi. We get a roll-up by Lana. We get a double team attempt by Rose and Brooke. And then we get Dana Brooke pinning Lana. Oh, well. The women's tag team division, I don't even consider it a division, mainly because they just put 2 women together and boom, they just instantly call it a tag team. There's no actual tag teams, and that goes for both men's and women's divisions. I mean, especially the Raw tag team division. I mean, like, honestly, I do not know if that's even actually a division. I mean, it's really stupid. But yeah, I mean, there's no emphasis on the women's tag team champions. There should be, but WWE is just lazy that they don't care, because what they did when they first introduced the titles, there was no women's tag teams, and they instantly introduced those teams without any build of the division whatsoever before they even introduced them. That was the problem. If they had built up a tag team scene with the women before they introduced the titles, and then they later on, after introducing everybody and just building up all of those tag teams, then they would have introduced those rosters. But instead, they just went the easy route, just randomly just introduced those titles and just put tag teams randomly together with no story whatsoever. All right, we get Elias backstage with Jackson Ryker. Elias is talking about how they should win the tag team titles and talk about Omos and how he is a challenge. And Elias thinks that Riker's not listening, but he says that, Jackson Ryker, just leaves off and really just gives him the look. All right. We got a backstage interview with Kofi Kingston. He's talking about Drew McIntyre. Says the reason he is able to achieve success is because of his friends and family. Talks about the match he had with Brock Lesnar, which, by the way, this was a really good promo cut by Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston, see, I do say that, WWE does a lot of over-scripting promos, but with Kofi Kingston, at least he is somebody that I genuinely believe when he is talking on the microphone. Kofi Kingston is phenomenal at what he does. So he talks about the match that he had with Brock Lesnar, of course, on the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox, and talks about how he lost in 5 seconds, which to this day I thought it was one of the stupidest things WWE has ever done. everybody knew that Lesnar was eventually going to be winning the belt back, but in that fashion, nobody expected it, and it was a really terrible shocker, and I was so pissed. Granted, actually, fun fact, I actually missed the premiere because I actually had to do something, and I literally was on Twitter, and I saw the entire match on Twitter, and I was like, wow, they really did that? That was stupid. And he talks about how he beat Bobby Lashley in whatever circumstances. He doesn't care. He still beat Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre didn't. So a really good promo by Kofi Kingston. All right, the next match we got Elias and Jackson Ryker versus AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag Team Championships. The match starts and Elias goes after Styles. We get a couple chops in the corner by Elias. We get a kick in the corner by Styles. We get a snap suplex by Styles. Another snap suplex by Elias. Jumping knee by Elias. Ryker tags in. Styles gives a couple right hands on Styles, on Elias. Slide by Elias. We get a drop kick outside the ring on Elias and Ryker. So we get a suplex by Jackson Ryker back from when we come back from commercial. We get a cover into a near fall. A side headlock by Ryker. Ryker sends Styles in the corner. Styles fights back. Ryker tries to tag Elias, but Elias leaves. So he officially turns on Jackson Ryker. Omos tags in, sends Ryker in the corner, sends Ryker again in the corner. Omos works on Ryker with his speed. We get a clothesline by Omos on Ryker. Styles tags in. We get a phenomenal forearm on Ryker, and AJ Styles and Omos win, or retain, I should say, the Raw Tag Team Championships. Honestly, I do not care for this match whatsoever. AJ Styles and Omos, I mean, the team is all right, but I do think that AJ Styles should be on his own because he is main event material. My God, this is a former 2-time WWE champion. And the fact that he's in the tag team with Omos, not only that, it's just the fact that he's in the tag team scene, I do not know why he is. It's just dumb. He should be in the main event. He should be one of the cornerstones of the Raw brand, but that's not what's going on. All right. Nia Jax is backstage concerned with Reginald when he's about to go to Alexa's playground. But Reginald is like, "It's fine. I'll leave. I'm gonna go to Alexa's playground. I'm gonna be all right." So Nia Jax just lets Reginald go to Alexa's playground. Great. We got Elias backstage after the match after he turned on Jackson Ryker. Says Jackson Ryker had become unhinged. Says he could mold him into something special. Talks about how he did not help him at all. And says he does not want to be around Jackson Ryker anymore. Ouch. We got Alexa's playground with Reginald. She congrats Reginald with the win over Baszler. Reginald says that he feels great. But then Alexa Bliss's doll, Lily, asks him a question. Lily wants to know about the time at Circus del Delay. I think that's what she said. I don't even remember. Shayna Baszler, out of nowhere, like as soon as Reginald was about to start speaking, Shayna Baszler, out of nowhere, just instantly attacks Reginald. And then Alexa says that Lily does not like Shayna Baszler. Says Alexa is becoming a big problem. And then Shayna says that they need a chat, and then she will see Alexa next week. And she calls Lily a stupid doll. What are my thoughts on this segment? I honestly do not care about Alexa's playground. Like, let's be straight up. I just do not like I do not like this whole thing. It's just the fact that, like, look, again, I stated in my other videos, I love realism in wrestling, and I understand what they're trying to do with Alexa Bliss, but I feel like in this day and age, it's just not working. That's just me. You got Lashley dancing with all the girls backstage and MVP, of course. He's the champion, and he can't interfere in this match between Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston, mainly because he will be suspended without pay in kayfabe, of course. So, main event of the evening, we got Kofi Kingston versus Drew McIntyre. Whoever wins this match will face the WWE Champion Bobby Lashley at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So the match starts. McIntyre sends Kingston in the corner. We get a couple chops by Kingston. We get a right hand by Kingston in the corner. A roll-up by Kingston. We got another roll-up again. A kick by McIntyre. Chops by McIntyre. Kofi drops on McIntyre outside of the ring. Kingston is working on McIntyre in the back of the corner from commercial. McIntyre suplexes Kingston. We get a right hand by McIntyre. A guillotine by Kingston on McIntyre. An inside cradle by Kingston. We get a kick out. Then we get a kick by Kingston. A splash by Kingston. Kingston works on McIntyre in the corner. Belly to belly by McIntyre on Kingston. Throws Kingston. We get a slam counter into an inside cradle by Kofi Kingston. A right hand missed by McIntyre. Then we get an SOS by Kingston. Kingston tries to drop McIntyre from the outside, but McIntyre catches Kingston and throws him into the timekeeper's area. McIntyre sends Kingston in the corner. We get a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by McIntyre, a cover and a near fall, a chop in the corner by McIntyre. We get a right hand by McIntyre. McIntyre's on the top and gives Kingston repeated right hands. He picks up Kingston. We get a powerbomb by Kingston after that. We get a cover and a near fall. Both exchange shots. Drop kick by Kingston. Cover and a near fall. Headbutt by Kingston. We get a trouble in paradise, but Kofi Kingston misses it. McIntyre with a spinning future shock DDT. We get a cover and a near fall. Later on, McIntyre tries to suplex, but Kofi does not let him. McIntyre drops Kingston off the top rope. Kingston counters the Claymore into a trouble in paradise. We get a cover and a near fall. McIntyre sends Kingston in the corner. Kingston hits a Hurricane Rana out of nowhere. We get a kick by Kingston. Double stomp to the apron by Kingston. Sends McIntyre back in the ring. Kingston is on the top. Then, as soon as Kingston was jumping off the top rope to try to hit McIntyre, we get a Claymore kick out of nowhere by McIntyre. Pins McIntyre. No, he pins Kofi Kingston. And Drew McIntyre will face Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. And the show ends. What are my thoughts on this match? This match was not bad at all. I actually pretty much enjoyed this match. I loved the finish, and what I mean by that finish is the fact that, Kofi Kingston was on the top rope. He was about to drop on McIntyre, but instead McIntyre countered with a Claymore. That was an awesome spot. I really liked that spot. But we got Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. I mean, it's the same shit over and over again. I honestly, when it comes to WWE, they do a lot of rematches when it comes to their feuds, of course. But with McIntyre and Lashley, I mean, I feel like we've seen this feud for a whole year, but it's only been 3 or 4 months. I mean, I just am not invested in this feud at all. Another thing I want to talk about before I leave is the new commentator. As you guys know, Adnan Virk got released last week. And hopefully he finds a job somewhere else because, losing a job is never great. But I will say this, though, about Adnan Virk, and it's not a good thing. He was not good when it came to commentary. He was just bad. I say that because, first off, they and look, it's not his fault. He first off, I do not think he's a fan of wrestling at all. You had Suits and Ties, or Nick Khan, who hired this guy because he was from MLB Network and he would sound perfect. He thought he would sound perfect on Raw. But the problem with that is that, look, WWE, they try to go sports-centric, but they try to go sports-centric for all of the wrong reasons. What I mean by that is the fact that they just try to bring in people from the sports world to think that, oh yeah, we're sports centric. Yeah, so we got this guy, Adnan Virk. He's going to be commentating for us. What they're not doing is making the product as a whole sports centric. You got stupid angles that happen on the show, stupid comedy that is not even funny whatsoever. You got zombies on one show. I mean, that's not sports centric whatsoever. Wins and losses do not even matter, mainly because you guys booked. They booked so many rematches every week on television. It's just mind-boggling. You know what I mean? So they're not sports-centric. They will say that they are, but in reality, WWE's not. But I will say good things though about Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith, he was not perfect on the show tonight, but he was not bad. He was definitely much better than Adnan Virk, in my opinion. I loved his reactions. Another thing is I really enjoyed his, the emotion that he has in his commentary. I really like it. And he got a lot of the moves, unlike Adnan. I mean, Adnan didn't get a lot of the moves. He only got like the simple ones, like a clothesline and a dropkick. I mean, you had Jimmy Smith like name drop like a Hurricane Rana, all that stuff. So that's good. But another thing about the commentating Terry team is the fact that there's really no lead role in the show, mainly because, as you guys know, I mean, Jimmy Smith is an MMA guy. And there was an old tweet that surfaced saying that he hasn't watched wrestling in the past like 30 years. And you had Corey Graves on commentary in this show, really just when basically just carrying the show, and that's what he did when Adnan Virk was there. So honestly, the true lead commentator was Corey Graves, and Corey Graves is great. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy Smith is not that bad. Let's hope he stays that way and he gets better from the next few weeks. I hope that's the case. I don't want to see any changes whatsoever, but hey, that was the commentary team on Raw. So yeah, that was my Raw review from May 31st, 2021. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and just be on the lookout for more content. So now, this is Broken Havoc, signing out.